I've got a great idea. Let's tell each other our most personal fears and just let them go. Let them go. Stop. Don't come around. You're not welcome anymore. Just take our fears, ball them up, throw them behind us, say, get the hell out of here. You ever seen a man say goodbye to his most personal fears? Heh once. But yes, just take your most personal fears and let them go. Let them float away like a little pigeon. Roo, roo, roo. Oh, Mr. Pigeon, I'd kiss you if you weren't swimming with disease. But you're not a pigeon. You're just me Hans trying to be a pigeon. And then you go over here and try to be a bat. Let the fears go away like a little squeaky, squeaky bat. Or perhaps you just make it like a giant moth that will dig its claws and its wings and go over your face, and it'll get to the point where the fears will never leave. Why am I talking like an Irish person doing a horrible Irish accent? Oh, I just recently rewatched The Banshees of Inisherin, which really the only fear in that movie is about the fear of losing a long-time friendship. But yes, telling everybody, friends of yours, your most personal fears and just letting them play out seemed like such a great idea. At first. Fear was written and directed by Deon Taylor, who's done movies such as Dead Tone, Meet the Blacks, Meet the Blacks 2. Meet the Blacks made so much money they did a sequel. I'm as surprised as anybody else given the quality of Meet the Blacks. Chain Letter, speaking of quality, Traffic with a K, not Traffic with a C, because Traffic with a C had Erica Christensen in it. She has a K and a C in her name. What the hell happened to her? Oh, Swim Fan. Right, Swim Fan a couple years later. This isn't about Swim Fan. Let's talk about Black and Blue, which was fine and fatal. Remember when Hilary Swank was made up to be like a fatal and kept stalking a guy that she slept with on one trip? Yeah, that was an entire movie. They made an entire movie over that. And then we have another writer, John Ferry, not John Kerry, because they didn't decide to get the F out. And John Kerry, I don't think would be a very good writer. He's not a very good congressman. Nevertheless, John Ferry, who's not the ferryman, though I would have gladly paid the ferryman rather than continue to watch Fear. In fact, I think this movie should be sent out with the ferryman, but don't pay the toll. So the ferryman will dispatch any potential for a sequel to Fear. Am I tipping my hand as to how I felt? Joseph Sikora was Ron, and then we get Serena Rudy Modine, who's beautiful, by the way, just really want to say that, and a few others. There is a character named Bianca who's on her own against the world, and she whips her hair back and forth. Annie in Onzi, sorry if I mispronounce that, in Naze. Really sorry if I mispronounced that. And T.I. is in this. The rapper T.I., who raps as well as he acts and acts as well as he raps. Okay, so there's the Strawberry Lodge, not to be confused with Valley Lodge, because there's no "the master says you can't stay here." Terrible Torgal impression. A bunch of friends who are isolated before meeting up, because this is another pandemic-themed horror movie. We are never going to escape that. It is going to be 30 years later, assuming the planet isn't completely on fire by that point, and we'll be doing pandemic-based thrillers still. So, yeah, there are a bunch of people there, and then their worst fears start to prey on them because of either their own paranoia, something supernatural, or likely lazy screenwriting. I wonder if you can guess which one I'm going to blame. And from there, we have a horror movie. One that basically had about that much material and was stretched out to an hour and 40 minutes. Yep. Paranoia, and fear in a movie called Fear. I know, it's just weird. There was another line in this, or something about, where people, we're letting our fears get in the way of our logic or whatever. Everybody's like, instantly their fears start to take over. They share their fears around a campfire, and then suddenly their fears start taking hold. Almost like maybe it's horror movie 101 and we have a horror movie bingo card and we're just checking this shit off and we're just doing this, and then we're letting characters be stupid. And fuck it, I'm bored. I watched this. There were 2 other people in the movie. There were 2 other people in the theater. And I basically had my own private screening because I actually am convinced they fell asleep. And I'm convinced that the people writing this movie and producing this movie pretty much fell asleep on the first day of shooting, and they just had the cameras, I don't know, Skynet took over the cameras, and they just decided to film that because Skynet became self-aware, and then even Skynet decided to shut itself down rather than continue to film Fear. Am I tipping my hand yet as to how I felt about this? What is this warm feeling that I feel watching all these cliches, this bad, jump scare music and people acting horribly and everything and doing the dumbest thing possible to advance a bad horror plot? Oh, right, hatred. I hate fear. I hate everything about fear. From the very beginning, I knew I was in trouble, and nothing about it actually made me sway that opinion. In fact, if anything, I just got angrier and angrier that movies like this get a theatrical release and other movies struggle to even get, something positive on streaming. They have to struggle just to get on a streaming service and get a good deal to make their money back. Yet this, basically the best way I can describe this is if you took like a late 90s, early 2000s bad horror movie with ghosts and goofiness and, people acting really stupid and paranoia and all this stuff and locking in an isolated area and taking all those cliches, isolated area, they can't get out, maybe they can get out, who the hell knows, what the hell's going on, who knows what they can do, all these cliches, and you basically just could have transplanted this back to the late 90s, early 2000s, and it wouldn't have been a miss. The special effects are about on par, the acting's about on par, and there are some decent actors here. I just want to say that. I don't even fault the cast because they were doing the best they could, but Deon Taylor, who has proven that he actually can direct some taut thrillers. Like Traffic wasn't great, but it was fine. Black and Blue was actually pretty much fine. And then there's stuff like Chain Letter and Dead Tone, and I would argue that this is the worst of those. And horror is not really that hard to direct. You just have to be... You can have a simple thing, but they really should have just played this for comedic effect because it wasn't unintentionally hilarious. There were numerous times where I'm watching this and everybody should have known that one particular character was, maybe one particular character was like the reason for all this stuff happening. And maybe if they had bothered to research anything about this Strawberry Lodge, they would have realized, hey, maybe we shouldn't be here in this weird thing with this weird, creepy old lady that mentions, we're going to take your picture. That way you'll be here forever. Well, that's a weird thing for a hostess to say. Almost like there's something weird going on here. And oh, wait, it's about fear. And why don't we tell each other our craziest fears or our most personal fears? Oh, I was in a car accident, so I have this necklace around me. Oh, I nearly drowned, so I can't swim. I'm claustrophobic. I'm this. It's like, I need an adult. I am an adult. This movie needed an adult to punch in the goddamn gut like Vegeta did in that one episode of DBZ Abridged. This movie's an abomination. This movie is goddamn terrible, and I cannot believe that this got a theatrical release. I can't believe that this got a theatrical release when so many other movies struggle to get any notoriety, any attention. This was complete and utter garbage. This was dog shit. The scares were so goddamn bad. The special effects, whatever. The special effects team was doing the best they could. None of the characters were redeemable. None of them. And it hit you over the head with a particular message like in Pray for the Devil, which if you know anything about that movie, if you saw that movie, you're probably going to get what message I'm referring to. But it ends up... There's nobody worth rooting for. Everybody that could be worth rooting for is so monumentally stupid, and then they do one thing where it's like, hey, we need to do this, or oh shit, we need to take this one character, put him here to advance this one particular plot point, and oh, we forgot about that, and let's just have them do this. Oh, let's have this person do this. They're playing on their worst fears. Oh, they're in this isolated chamber. Oh no, something's happening. Oh, this weird surgical scene. All this stuff's happening. Oh no, somebody's drowning. Somebody's doing this. All these fears that we saw playing out. And maybe if there was any a little bit of tension in this, it would have worked. But it didn't work. None of this worked. None of this worked at all. I hated this. I hated this movie. Have I mentioned I hate this movie? How dare you, Deon Taylor? How dare you say this was a good idea? How dare you think this was a good idea? And if it wasn't your fault, then I withdraw that and I say, how dare you to the studio? How dare you put this movie out? How dare you, studio heads that I don't even know the names of, but if I ever find out the names, I'll just simply know your names and move on because it is just a movie at the end of the day. But yeah, it's just all about fear and everything and all this stuff. And even though there's one character who does something so goddamn stupid that it comes back to bite them in the ass, and I'll leave it up to you to decide which character I'm talking about if you've seen this. Good grief. Good grief, this was shit. Fear, god damn it. If it goes out on streaming, watch it. Maybe you'll enjoy it. You could drink with a whole bunch of your friends. I know that alcohol certainly fueled this movie. There were a few moments where people were drinking. And then there was something about a really bad wine bottle, Which, yeah, I think the wine the wine that was used to write the screenplay was probably poisoned or toxic, and maybe they decided to have a ghostwriter. I think actually a ghostwriter, not Ghost Rider Way of the Samurai, except that's Ghost Dog Way of the Samurai. I don't think a ghostwriter actually would have done this. I think a ghost would have decided, oh, I'm not going to write this. I'm going to off myself again. Because, yeah, if I were a ghost, I'd rather off myself than write a movie called Fear. It's in theaters if you want to watch it. Wait for streaming, though, because I doubt if this movie is not out on streaming in the next 6 weeks, I'll be shocked. Anyway, let's get into spoilers like it fucking matters about a movie called Fear. 3, 2, 1, and spoilers. Okay, so the whole thing about Strawberry Lodge is it's about some women that were witches that bewitched miners, and miners with an E, not miners with an O, during the gold rush because they're in California somewhere, some unnamed California area. Doesn't really goddamn matter. And it turns out the main character, the main doctor character, is studying on fear and wants to write another book. And he takes his fiancee, that it turns out actually is pregnant, but also very religious, yet they aren't married yet. So again, against the whole religious thing, even though religion is bullshit, just saying that right now. Oh, premarital sex. Oh no, you're going to hell, you bitch. And then it turns out that he's actually brought them all there to study up on their fears and everything and do this. But he didn't think something like that would happen. So basically, it's like House on Haunted Hill 1999, except without Jeffrey Rush, Famke Janssen, Bridget Wilson Sampras, Ali Larter, the absolutely gorgeous Ali Larter. Good God, Ali Larter would have helped this movie so goddamn much. Taye Diggs and various other people. Chris Kattan in this would have actually helped. This movie was beyond help. When you got fucking T.I. in this, and I got nothing against T.I., but he's not a very good actor. I'm just going to say that right now. This whole doctor, this guy writing this book and everything, his doctor, the studier, oh, well, don't worry, honey, I'm just going to propose to you. No, I don't know you're pregnant. No, we can do this. And wait, I didn't realize that it was actually going to get this vicious. And oh, let's break into this isolated area in this basement. Well, one of our friends is sick. And let's go dig through that stuff. And wait, this weird stuff that I thought was actually in the house, and this old lady's actually one of the creepy witches in this whole Wiccan cult thing, the Witches of Fear. They use our fear to kill us in a movie called Fear. It's just so goddamn weird, isn't it? How dare you? How dare you, Fear? How dare you think you have any right to exist? And basically the thing that comes out of this weird chest in this isolated area is just like the weird ink blotty thing from House on Haunted Hill 1999, except at least in that movie it was entertaining. This wasn't. And everybody dies except the weird religious lady, who's fine. Suddenly she's fine. I guess she's fine. And then everybody's dead in the house, and these weird voices, and all this weird stuff and everything. And if they do a Fear 2, I am going to basically picket that the entire studio is set into space, along with anybody that decided to greenlight this. F. It gets an F. This gets an absolute F. This is an abomination. How dare you people that greenlit this? How dare you? How dare you go to sleep at night? F. Agree, disagree, what I said. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Wicklund. I'll see you soon.